Family and friends are coming together tonight to honor the life of Steve Kruger, the UPS driver killed in Monday's crash in Santee. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Jesse Pagan. Steve's family told News 8's Kirsten Holmes they want to celebrate his life, so he's remembered as a ray of light. Kirsten is live in Santee tonight with more on their conversation. Kirsten?
Hey guys, I'm here at the corner of Jeremy and Mass in Santee, where that vigil is going to start on the corner behind me at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, we spoke with Steve's brother, who says the outpouring of love and support from friends, family, colleagues, all of that support makes this loss 1,000 times more bearable.
We always teased him because he was our mom's favorite, and he's up there right now, you know, and I'm sure she's confirming, that she was his favorite because he's the first one to get there and be with her.
Jeff Kruger is Steve's brother. He says there has been such an outpouring of support.
I just had a UPS driver stop by here on his way by, get out of his truck, come over and give me a hug. You think of UPS as a large company, but they're a family.
Jeff says their family enjoys hearing the stories about Steve, who was so full of life.
Yeah, it's difficult, but the thing that's made it easier was this outpouring of affection from the public and everybody. It's almost like we haven't had a chance to almost think about losing Steve because everybody's just saying such great things about him.
They, as a family, talked about what services should look like after they passed while they were all still living.
It's not going to be a service or a funeral. It's going to be a celebration of his life, and that's what he would have wanted. He wouldn't want anybody upset. He would want everybody to get together and laugh about things they remember about him.
Steve Kruger was one of 2 people who died just after noon on Monday when a plane flown by Dr. Sugata Das crashed into homes in the East County neighborhood. 12 homes were affected by the plane crash, with 2 homes considered a total loss.
Really care.
John Minto, mayor of Santee, says the city office's staff knew and loved Steve.
Well, my staff was there on a regular basis, got to know him. The first thing they said is, we can't believe that it was Steve. He was very well liked. And the community that he was also delivering in over there off of Greencastle, he got to know them pretty well.
Jeff says Steve would want everyone to remember one thing.
You live it the best way you can because you never know what's going to happen.
We've been out in this community working on this story for hours today. Just today alone, we've been out here for several days this week, and I can tell you that there is a growing memorial at the crash site that includes a toy UPS truck. And if you take a look behind me, you see a full-size UPS truck there at the corner as they all get ready for the vigil for the delivery man that was so beloved by this community.
Kirsten, I have to imagine they're expecting quite the turnout tonight.
They are. People are already starting to show up. I've seen a couple of UPS workers already showing up. The organizer tells me that they're expecting a couple hundred people to come out right here tonight to honor Steve.
Kirsten Holmes reporting live at that goodbye tonight. Thanks, Kirsten.
We first told you last night that FBI is asking for the public's help in finding a fugitive wanted for sex trafficking.
The reward for information leading to an arrest has been raised to $50,000. News 8's Dana Marie McNichol has more on the case.
Young women were lied to and tricked into sexual acts while Michael Pratt made millions. He fled San Diego in the middle of a high-profile civil case, and now the FBI says he could be anywhere. It's a scheme focused on young women, some still in high school. The ringleader was Michael Pratt, and according to the FBI, he would post advertisements on Craigslist for clothed modeling jobs, luring in 18 and 19-year-olds to San Diego for what turned into pornography shoots.
The defendants would sift through all of the submissions and then pick out women to target. They paid reference women, coached them how to lie.
The women were told the videos would not be posted on the internet. Pratt's porn production company generated more than $17 million in revenue.
They would target the video and send it to people in the women's communities because they knew where they went to school. So if the video goes viral in those areas, that's where these guys would get subscribers.
Brian Holmes was the attorney representing 22 women in a 2019 civil trial against Pratt and his co-conspirators. He spoke to 150 victims, all with the same story, many traumatized.
They've been ostracized, kicked out of their communities. Some have been kicked out of colleges. Many of them have tried to commit suicide, lost pretty much everybody in their life.
A federal arrest warrant was issued for Pratt, but he fled the country to Mexico right before the civil trial started. The FBI set an initial reward for his capture at $10,000 last year, but it now stands at $50,000. Holmes says he's a recluse and was hard to find even when he was living in San Diego.
PI that we had on the case said he had done over 2,000 people searches in his life, and that this was the first time he could not find a picture of his actual target.
Even so, Holmes thinks his capture is possible and likely.
He won't stay off the internet, I'm sure. Slip up somewhere along the way.
Pratt is the last outstanding fugitive in this case. All of his co-conspirators have been arrested or awaiting trial. For the women, they want their story heard, so this never happens again.
A man who fired an assault rifle into a Hillcrest restaurant could spend nearly 50 years in prison. Stephen Parker pleaded guilty today to 5 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. He previously faced nearly a dozen counts of attempted murder. About a dozen people were inside the restaurant during the shooting in February 2019, and none were hit. Parker will face sentencing in January. We're learning tonight that the FBI is now joining several other federal agencies in investigating the oil spill in Orange County. Meantime, the Coast Guard says the pipeline leached much less oil than they first thought. Officials now say the pipeline released closer to 25,000 gallons of oil, about a fifth of the original estimate. The change comes as officials monitoring the amount of oiling along our coast. Investigators are still working to find out what caused the leak, but the running theory is a ship's anchor damaged it. FBI officials say they will work jointly with the other agencies to find out exactly what happened.
Here in San Diego County, 80% of those eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine are fully vaccinated. That places San Diego among the most vaccinated counties in the state and nation. County Health says more than 2.2 million San Diegans are now fully vaccinated, and nearly 90% of San Diegans 12 and over have taken at least one shot.
Moderna's booster shot now has the green light after an FDA panel voted in favor of giving the vaccine's third shot emergency use authorization.
And those shots could start going into arms next week if the CDC signs off. Skylar Henry is outside FDA headquarters with more on that and the president's push to get more Americans vaccinated ahead of the holidays.
We do have a unanimous 19 out of 19 yes votes.
An FDA advisory panel has voted to authorize Moderna booster shots for people vaccinated at least 6 months ago, who are high risk or over 65 years old.
I think it's critical that we prevent infection as much as we can.
A CDC committee will meet next week to set guidelines for the rollout. Moderna booster shots are already being administered to some immunocompromised Americans. The FDA panel will also vote Friday on whether to authorize a second Johnson & Johnson dose for some high-risk Americans. And they'll hear a presentation of mixing booster shots from different manufacturers. The FDA and CDC have already authorized Pfizer's third shot for older and higher-risk Americans. The Biden administration says so far, 1 in 3 eligible seniors have received that booster shot. At the White House, President Biden touted progress on getting more Americans vaccinated. But he says the number of unvaccinated Americans, 66 million, is still too high.
Please get vaccinated. That's how we put this pandemic behind us.
The president credits employer mandates for driving the latest surge in COVID-19 shots. The Labor Department is expected to issue an emergency rule soon for businesses with 100 or more workers to implement vaccine requirements or regular testing. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Later this month, an FDA committee will meet to decide whether to authorize Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. President Biden says the federal government has already purchased enough vaccine doses for that age group.
New affordable housing options are coming to the South Bay. About 400 units will be built as part of an agreement between MTS and developers. They'll be built at the Palm Avenue trolley station. That's not far from Interstate 5. These are renderings you're looking at of the potential project. 4 separate residential buildings will have units for low and moderate income families. Construction isn't expected to start for a few years.